Hi, team members. My name is Marla Neighbor, and I am the Director of Communications at Gap Community, and I also oversee our coaches. For your support call process, some of you are doing this for the first time. Others of you have been around for a while. My request is that both of you would listen, with fresh ears and be willing to catch what's needed. This is going to support your support call captain so that they can spend less time in the second team meeting reviewing, and that's the purpose of this time, and more just taking your questions and answering anything you might need. Okay, so first of all, the support call process, actually getting the honor and the privilege of getting to make a support call to a participant is a sacred thing, and I don't use that word lightly. You, outside of the person who enrolled them, might be their very first interaction with GAP, so you're representing the ministry, and you're representing a part of the process that sets something in motion for the participant that's very real and gets their gears turning prior to coming into that room. And we rely on the support callers big time. And so typically, when things go south, or when something gets missed, or when somebody comes in unclear, or when they come in super clear, a lot of the time we can trace it back to the conversation that they've had with that support call. So you're basically the gatekeeper. But you're also, working in tandem really closely with your support call captain and with your sponsors if needed. So you're in it together, and we're relying on you, and it's something that really matters. And so we just ask that you hold it with a level of respect and responsibility that it's due. The purpose of a support call is to both go over what it is that individual is wanting to get out of that time. So what their overall purpose is for coming, and getting more specific around what that might be, or what areas, relationships, and details that might entail, what vision they might have for the future, and helping them come in the door having already done some legwork and deciding what is the area or areas or relationship or internal shift that I want to have happen during this time. And that may change for them in the actual training itself, but coming in clear will support them big time. So getting clear around their purpose, why they're coming, is a huge part of it. The other part is reviewing responses on their Awaken form. There is a good portion of what is now just one online Awaken form, where everything's rolled into that one. For those who have been around for a while, we just now have one Awaken form online. And your job on this call is also to review the medical and health portion of that form, and that will help answer any clarifications they might need along the way. And it's a double up, because they'll be filling out the same form online for the medical and health questions you're going to be asking on this call as well. And then finally, just answering their questions and reviewing some logistics, making sure they're set up fully and completely to be able to participate and have all the information they need to do that well. So the order of them arriving in your email inbox is this. So a person registers, the sponsor makes sure that they are fully paid. You should not be making any calls to any person unless they are fully paid and ready to go. And so once that person is fully registered and paid, then from there, they're sent to the support call captain. That support call captain will then assign a caller, and then that caller then gets sent the registration form and the documents you need via email, and that's when you come on the scene. And then once you receive that email, this is why it's so important. Email is going to need to be checked daily. And so if you've been on the team process so far and you're not an email checker, do what you need to do to make sure that you can check that email every single day, just to make sure that you don't miss a form. Once that form comes to your inbox, you will then turn around within 24 hours to set up a call with that participant. That doesn't mean your call will be in the next 24 hours. That just means by the time you get the form, you will set up that call. You will reach out to set up that call within 24 hours. The best practice that we've seen up until now, of course, a lot of people don't answer their phones anyways if it's a number they don't recognize. So you might be surprised. Maybe they will answer, maybe they won't. If they don't, you leave a voicemail and then immediately follow up with a text clarifying, hey, I'm so-and-so on the Awaken training team. I just left a voicemail. Check it out. Let me know when you have an hour, uninterrupted hour for your standard pre-training support call or something, along those lines. So you have both the voicemail and the text because it just is what it is. It's a double up. Some people don't even check their voicemails. So you've got a two-touch pursuit right there. And then from here on out, this person, once you are essentially handed this individual who's coming to the training, they are yours to own. And so you can not over communicate with your support call captain. There's no way you could possibly communicate too much, in other words. And so you'll want to let them know right away, okay, got the form. I left a voicemail and sent a text, and I will keep you posted. I'll be following up with them. So maybe 3 days go by. If it's closer to the training, you're going to want to be on it. If you're close to the training, if you're within a week of the training, you are calling, you are texting, you're emailing every single day. So, but prior to that, you can let a couple, 2-3 days go by, reach out again, voicemail, text, whatever you have to do, try email. And then it's on you to keep pursuing them. So if your support call captain is having to reach out to you and say, hey, I've got this little blank on my Excel sheet with no call assigned, for your person, and they haven't heard from you in a couple of days or 3 or 4 days, then yeah, that's no bueno, because your support call captain is having to essentially chase after or babysit everyone at that point. And so if you could just take ownership of that, and so maybe a few days go by, you let your support call captain know, hey, reached out again, here's what I did, and keep them in the loop. If you're having to reach out anywhere from, 3 times, a few days go by again, you reach out again, nothing. At that point, it's red flag time. So time to find out and work with your support call captain who enrolled them. Let's do some recon to find out what's going on over here. So you'll reach out within 24 hours to set up the call. You'll set up the call. Ideally, you set that call up with urgency. It's not going to be oh yeah, let's have this call. We still have 7 weeks before the training, so let's set the call up 6 weeks from now. Do your best to work with them and their schedule and do what it takes to set that call up earlier than later for that 1 hour uninterrupted time. And that will include you. And so if you're, shuffling around, if you're on a walk, if you've got noise in the background, that's going to be very distracting, and it sends a message that you didn't care enough to prioritize that time. And so, of course, maybe it goes without saying, but along with being on time for the call itself. So all those little details matter. And your intentionality in pursuing them really matters. When you do set up the call, there is a call script, even just for the setting up of the call. And so it walks you through that. And so I'm not going to go through it. You can read it. It's got, essentially word for word. My suggestion, and actually my request, my strong desire would be that everyone who is doing support calls would read through your support call setup script and your support call script itself, which is several pages at least 3 times prior to making that call. You don't want to be like a robot. You want to have some personality in this time, and you want to be able to just bring a natural flow to it. So read that 3 times prior to making your call. It's got a script for the setup, and then it's got a script for the actual call itself. For the call itself, everything's pretty much outlined, so this will be your chance to read through it prior to going to that second team meeting, where your support call captain will ask you if you have any questions. And so please read that prior to that time so you know what questions to ask. You'll be very sad if you show up to that time and you think you're clear, and then you sit down to do your first call. It's in the next hour. You're reading through the script and you're like, oh wait, what about this thing? So go ahead and do that and make sure you have a full understanding of what's needed. And then the forms required. So there is a link, and it's a private link, so it's not something that you'll find just by going to GAP's website. And that is on their confirmation packet, and it is outlined in your actual script itself. And that is gapcommunity.com/awaken forms, plural, awaken forms, because potentially they're all required to do one, but potentially they're going to be doing two. So now we have one standard form. It includes a hold harmless. It includes a medical questionnaire, which is what you'll be going over in your script. And then it also includes some really amazing and valuable questions specific to the training itself and how, and their inner world and what they're wanting to get out of that time. And it's about relationships. It's about vision. It's about what they're willing to risk. And so there are several questions in there that are going to prepare them really well coming into that training room. And some folks will have filled out that online Awaken form prior to your call, which is fantastic. So it'll be a bit of a review in some regard for what they've already done the hard work for on the paper. But a lot of folks will not have done that. And so you're going to ask them questions yourself. You're going to let them know those are part of the Awaken form, and that they have to return that one Awaken form, that it's required before they can actually step foot in that training room. And it's important that you treat that with urgency. This will be in your script, but it talks about how to let them know that when you're going through those medical questions and you come to find out, okay, yes, they have taken an antipsychotic, an anti-depressant, or an anti-anxiety med within the last 5 years, currently within the year or the last 5 years, then they are then required to have a physician signature. And so they potentially could have two forms. One is just the Awaken form itself I mentioned, and then the other is this physician release signature. It's an e-signature. Most folks, they call the office. They say, hey, what's the email? I'm going to be sending this document. I need a release, a physician release, an e-signature for this training that I'm going to be doing. And the form itself has an explanation in it. And then they just email over this link, which is also found at the gapcommunity.com/awaken forms. And then the doctor e-signs it. I rarely ever get a phone call, but my phone number is listed on there for any clarity that someone might require or need to sign that as a doctor. And then they're good to go. Some people have to be a little more persistent than others. But we haven't had too many problems over the years with people just emailing their doctor and then making sure they stay on top of it until they've actually sent it back. So that's what's required, is that one form for sure, but possibly two. So let's talk about the physician signature and when it is and is not required, and your support call captain can be a follow-up. So again, antipsychotic, anti-anxiety, and antidepressant medications. If they are currently taking any one of those three right now, or within the past year, then they need to get the prescribing doctor's signature. So the person who actually prescribed the med that they're on, that is the signature that they need to acquire, is the person who actually prescribed it. However, if they are not currently taking the med and it's been a year, But it's been within 5 years. You got it? So not currently taking, not within the last 12 months, but between that 12 months to 5-year period. Then they can have the signature of any physician. It doesn't have to be the prescribing physician's signature. It can be a general physician or whoever they're seeing at the time. And that works just as well. And sometimes you have to stay on that. And so my request again is that your support call captain would not have to track you down to find out about those signatures. You might need an update from time to time, but feel free just to create a relationship with your participant where you're texting them as a follow-up and saying, hey, you said you were going to get those forms done this week. How did it go? Did you get those in? Or if you need to know specifically, did they or did they not fill out the forms, then you can go ahead and check in with your support call captain about that as well. So thank you all for taking time from your life to be in this tremendous process that changes lives and legacies and parenting and marriage and workplaces and churches, and has this massive ripple effect. So thank you, and thank you for being the first link in the chain that sets off a whole ripple effect of beautiful possibilities that some of these folks will share more freely. Not everyone, but some of them will share more freely than they share with their closest loved ones. And so it's a privilege to be in that space. And I just want to say, you don't have to be a trainer. In fact, please don't be a trainer or a coach, on these calls. You're simply coming with an attitude of curiosity and openness and support and care. And your job is to ask questions and to do your part on making sure you get the details of what's requested for the form itself and for the script as it prompts you. But also that you would support them in getting specific. And that comes naturally, not with the perfect questions, although we do have a list of optional questions for you to talk through. But it comes with an attitude, and it comes with a way of being, a heart towards that person. And for those of you who are followers of Jesus, the way I treat this time is that when I am gifted a person to do that support call with, I commit personally to pray for them every single day leading up to the training, and then certainly all throughout those actual 4 days. So thank you again for being a part of watching the miracle unfold. We appreciate you, and let your support call captain or your sponsors along the way know of any thoughts, concerns, or questions you might have. Thanks, everyone.